Good morning, everybody. I just got out of church and I'm at one of my spots I like. I'm not going to keep giving my spots. In the last few months I noticed on the news, I'm not too far from downtown area where I did my helped with the halfway house. I noticed something funny on the news. Not funny, but they did a drug raid, and it was right on like Mary Street in one of the streets where I used to be a lot with helping my friend with the halfway house. He lived there for a while. But when on the news I noticed it was like the house, I recognized it. I said, oh, that's the old block. And then maybe a month or so later, it was another one, right? I'm going to inform people of things. I don't remember the last drug raid I've seen in Flower Bluff. The last thing I remember about a meth house was there was a meth house that exploded. I was with a friend of mine, many of my friends. He would tell me, John, you can throw a rock, he said, every block in Flower Bluff has got a meth house. They did a documentary. Some of you might not know this. They did a documentary on Flower Bluff. I never seen it, but some of the guys said, oh, yes, they had watched it. It was one of the shows, like certain drug regions. Here where we live, Robstown has been known for many years for heroin dealing. And it's a bad image, but it was known for that. Flower Bluff made it to the national media on a meth house. I know why what I'm going to explain is, but you might not. Why do you see these drug busts like in the Mexican area of town, which is called the West Side? But the actual area that has thousands and thousands and thousands of much more drug houses, the only thing that makes it to the news is one of them explodes. Because they get paid over there. The cops get paid. That's why you don't see that. I had a friend of mine, many years, he would tell me, we're paying them. And I would always tell him, well, he wouldn't say he himself, he was smart enough, but he said, John, they get paid here. And they know them. They'd see. Some of my friends, when they get clean, I have friends that have gotten clean. You got to understand the different lifestyle when for many years they were paying cops for paying them off. Then they get clean and they want to have a family. And I'm not saying this holds them back. But then they would live like, some have done this. They'd live like a regular family. I'm by the Lexington. I have to show you. But then they lived the rest of their lives and got on the right track. And they still see the guys that they pay or used to be getting paid off. And they know those guys are still getting paid. Cops getting paid drug money. And it makes their life is different because the cop might wave and he might not do anything. In some cases he might. If he's afraid, they might eventually. It gives everything different. You say, John, so just think that for a minute. The actual area that was known for the meth that made it to the national news was Flower Bluff. But you see the drug raids. I don't want to be prejudiced here. Mexicans don't pay them. So to keep the image, you got to do a bust every so often. So they pick one of those. Very strange. You see, you thought, oh, I never knew that. See, now I'm informing you. I was with a friend about a year ago. And I work with guys, and we were going to go do a meeting in Bishop. This is how come I remember the time thing here. And when I was with him, we were at his house before we went to Bishop. Somebody broke in while I was there. Said he was going to kill him. I was there. Now, he didn't know I was there when he first broke in. Now, I know both of these guys. Well, it was right there. And then the guy took off and ran. My friend had to call the cops. Now, his house, he don't have it anymore. It was an apartment. It's about 4 blocks from the police station in Flower Bluff. It's right there. So he was kind of like, he waited. It was over an hour before somebody came. And I remember, that's why I said I remember this, because we were going to go do the meeting at Bishop. And he said, well, John, I'll just leave. I said, well, you better wait for the cops. You reported a break and entering attempted murder. You better wait. We waited. Maybe an hour and a half. 2 guys came. Now, I don't know their names. I recognize one of them. So I sat, showed they broke in, so-and-so, attempted to kill, or said he was going to kill me. Now, listen. Cop kind of, well, you know, what else? So I see they were going to blow it off. And I said, I was here. And he did say he was going to kill him. The cop said something like, well, you know, stuff like that happens. The other guy was involved, he's involved in things as well. How much do they have to get paid to say that or to not? And one of my other friends who I used to say, he's way but beyond, he's gone from that lifestyle. But he would tell me, you know, they get paid, we pay them. And I would always be like you might be when you first hear these, a little hesitant. He said, no. He said they were going. This was maybe 20 years ago. He said, look, they were chasing after somebody in Flower Bluff, cops, and they came where he was. And he said, but that was a place where you're not supposed to enforce law because they get paid.